Hello. Hi everybody. How's everybody doing? How are y'all doing? So welcome to part 2 of what I'm dubbing as the Corona Sessions. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Elizabeth Gillis. I'm a certified practitioner of the BodyTalk healthcare system, and I have been practicing BodyTalk since 2012. If you are new to this whole BodyTalk thing, BodyTalk is cutting edge medicine and healthcare, and it draws on many forms of healthcare, including Western medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, and other methods from all around the world to bring about lasting changes to the body and mind. So BodyTalk isn't diagnostic like most approaches. BodyTalk practitioners do not need to know what's wrong in order to do sessions for you. We only need to know how to ask the right questions to the body in order to determine what needs attention, what the story is, and what techniques need to be applied in order to make changes happen for you. So if this is all new to you, I highly recommend that you check out the first video from this series of complementary sessions just to get a little bit more background on how BodyTalk works. For the rest of you, let's just do a quick refresher on the tapping. When the formula has been completed and I say that it's time to tap it out, you're going to take some nice slow deep breaths, and I will walk you through tapping over the head, the heart, and the navel areas to stimulate the head, heart, and enteric brain to make changes that are being asked for in today's session. So if you haven't already, take a moment, make your way to a place where you can sit or lie back and be comfortable, where you'll pretty much be undisturbed during these next few minutes while this session is occurring. What I'd like for you to do is to take a quick assessment of your body and your emotional state. Are there areas where you feel tension? How tense are they on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you feel it in your head like a headache? Do you feel it in your neck, in your back, somewhere else? How is your current emotional level? Are you very emotional lately? Do you feel anxious, stressed, nervous? What emotions are you experiencing? Give that a number too. On a scale of 0 or 1 to 10, give that a number. How about if you take an arm and you just slowly raise it up to see where you feel a little tension, where your muscles start to engage and kind of complain a little bit that they don't really want to go further. Just take note to compare how you feel now, and then we'll compare that to how we all feel after the session is complete. So today is April 6th, 2020, and we are starting session number 2 of the Corona sessions. So the first thing that we are addressing is a fear of Corona, and we're linking that to the adrenal glands. So your adrenal glands produce cortisol. They are responsible for giving you your energy, your get up and go, and they also produce a lot of hormones. So we're linking that to body chemistry, and we are going specifically into hormones and neurotransmitters, and we are doing the steroid of cortisol production. So cortisol is a steroid, and we are addressing the receptor cells. So as the cortisol is produced, it goes out to the body, and almost all of the cells, pretty much every cell in the body, has a receptor for cortisol. And right now they're hypersensitive, and it seems as if they are stressed out due to there being a high alert to potential dangerous situations. And we're linking that to more body chemistry, hormones, and neurotransmitters, and this time we're producing the feel-good hormone of oxytocin that's produced by the heart. So oxytocin is produced by the heart when we feel very strong surges of love. And there's a deficiency there. So we're helping to balance the production of oxytocin by the heart. And it's bringing in, the fact that there's a lot of stress reliance, and there's stress in our situations. And we're doing a sub-session on that, all that stuff that we have so far. And that is doing a link of the heart and a lot of emotions of fear in the heart, linking to the limbic system of the brain. And so we're in the brain, and we're specifically in what's called the cingulate gyrus. And the cingulate gyrus is a major relay center for the limbic system. And it's where emotions, feelings, attention, working memory flow together. And there's a lot of overwhelm there. And it's overwhelm due to things in our environment, which is death and illness that is being reported that we're aware of. And so we're helping to reduce how our bodies react in a stressful way to these things in our environment. Then we are doing another subsession, and we are linking the heart again to a part of the brain, and specifically the limbic system, but this time we're going to what's called the stria terminalis. And that's the area within the limbic system that passes information from the amygdala. The amygdala are these little nuts in the side of our brains in the limbic system that are responsible for fear, our fight-flight response that gets us out of danger. It's also what gets stimulated when we are having an allergic reaction because it seems something in our environment is dangerous, and it kind of bypasses the areas of the brain that are responsible for thinking it out. So it can hijack the logical parts of the brain to get you out of something that's dangerous. So it passes the information from the amygdala to the hypothalamus, which is a huge conductor of the endocrine system. It's like the orchestra leader, conductor. So we're linking that to doing a little bit of work on a belief system, subconscious belief system in the heart around protection. So we call this pathological consciousness. So the heart is responsible, one of the qualities is for protection, and that's what it does, it protects us. But in this case, it's a coping mechanism that we have put in place that has gone rogue. It's gone to the point where it's no longer benefiting us, but it's actually on a destructive path. So we're helping to neutralize that so that we don't have that overprotection, that destructive pattern happening subconsciously now. We're linking that to the eyes, and then we're linking that to our environment, and specifically grocery stores, food, and necessary supplies. And that is having a little bit of a control impact on our bodies, or it's a control issue, and it's having an effect on our adrenal glands. We're linking that to a fear of the destruction of life. There are a lot of belief systems coming up in this session, and we're linking that to a belief system that someone is going to die. Now, this is not necessarily something that you may be aware of consciously, but is definitely there subconsciously. And we are only consciously aware of about 5 or 10% of what's going on with us. Everything else is subconscious. So we are linking that belief system to the switching technique. So we are running switching on this, and it is having to do with our brains kind of going or shutting down our systems, and it's our reaction to things in our environment, our stress reaction. So we're making a little bit of an adjustment on that when it comes to people in our environment who are making poor choices. So if you think someone else is making a poor choice, then that is a choice that you yourself wouldn't make, and you don't necessarily agree with the choice that they're making. And that creates a little bit of a stress trigger. So we're linking that to doing a little bit of lymph work in the neck and the clavicle areas. And we're reminding the lymph that its job is movement so that it doesn't get stagnated. And we're releasing fear from that lymph as well and from those areas. That is our detoxification system, the lymphatic system. Parallel to that, which means that simultaneously to this formula, we are doing a whole nother formula that we are tapping out at the same time. And this is a belief system. This destruction is needed for life to be better. So we've got a whole bunch of belief systems, like I mentioned, and that's linking to a belief system it better not affect me and my loved ones. Linking that to another belief system of I'm confused. That's linking to another belief system of wanting to be able to pick and choose the positives out of this experience for ourselves. And that's linking to another belief system. This is somebody's fault and someone is to blame. So pointing fingers. And we're going to take some nice, slow, deep breaths, and we're tapping out here. Tapping over the top of the head, over the head brain. Tapping over both hemispheres. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Tapping over the sternum, the heart area. Nice, slow, deep breaths. And tapping over the enteric brain, the navel area. Okay, how's everybody feeling so far? Okay, so next we're starting off with a belief system. I'm just going to take a quick sip. And the belief system is, it was only a matter of time before something bad happened. And we're linking that to the spleen and addressing the physical job that the spleen has in the role of cleansing the blood. We're linking that to a belief system of my blood is tainted. And we have a sub-session on that blood is tainted belief system. And that is a belief system that you are to blame on some level for this to have happened. So whether it is because you consume too much, you pollute too much, you buy more than you need, you waste time on unimportant things, whatever that is for you, we're linking that to a belief system that Mother Nature is mad. And we're doing an emotional release of worry from our brains. There's so much worry within our brains right now that we have to do this technique as an emotional release of worry because it's just so heavily populated that we can't just do a little bit of release from a particular area of the brain. And then we're doing a release of emotional strangulation from parts of the physical diaphragm. So there's this emotional release, this emotional strangulation that's just so embedded in the tissues of parts of the diaphragm that we have to kind of do this almost physical, but in this case it's energetic, right? Because we're not here in person together, and this is not the technique of priority to actually do, but it's actually doing like if we were doing it in person, like a little wiggle and jiggle at certain angles towards the diaphragm, kind of pushing into the belly area to release this emotional strangulation from the tissues, from the front, the back, the sides, the upper interior of the diaphragm. If you're not familiar with the diaphragm, it's almost like a parachute. And it's like this parachute that sits in the upper abdomen underneath the lungs. And we're linking that to the world. And then here's something interesting. We're doing a group session on the world for just a little bit. So the world needs a little bit of body talk right now rather than just the people who are listening to the session. And what we're doing is we're doing a stimulation of the pancreas reflex point. It's also known as spleen 21. This helps with immunity. It helps balance the left and right of the body to physically get it more in line. And those of you, if you are interested in Googling spleen 21, pancreas reflex point, that's also a point that if someone has diabetes, that it can actually stimulate insulin production. So just a little FYI on that one. We're linking that to the liver and its role in discernment, in making choices, making decisions about what it's going to hold on to, what it's going to let go of, what it's going to do, what it's not going to do. We're linking that to the large intestines and reminding it that it has a job of elimination. We're linking that to the blood, and this is specifically reminding it of its role in delivering life-giving nutrients and oxygen. And that's ending the matrix session, except that we had one more little link, and that is a link to an image of the current world as being like one big colon that needs to be detoxed, and that there's lots of junk that needs to be given the heave-ho. And we're going to tap that out. Nice, slow, deep breaths here. You can close your eyes if you choose. Keep them open, it doesn't matter. Tapping over the top of the head, reminding you to tap over both hemispheres of the brain, keeping those fingers nice and wide. And then moving to tap over the heart to store those changes. And then tapping over the navel area, the enteric brain. Okay, moving on to the next formula. We're starting off with a belief system that the bubble has popped. So I'm sure that you can envision a balloon being filled with air, and it only has so much capacity. So whether you can see that metaphorical for the economy, for our lives, for whatever, that bubble only had so much pressure that it can take before it would explode and pop. So that is linking to a belief system of where does it go from here? I told you that there was a lot of belief systems, and we're linking to yet another belief system. This is what we deserve. Whether you're consciously aware of that and whether you feel that way on a personal level or not, on some level, even subconsciously, it is there for you. We're linking that to doing a balance of the cortices. So the cortices is doing a balance of all the different lobes of the brain from the left to the right hemispheres. Improving communication within the brain. All health and wellness is reflected in the brain on some level. So if there's cold spots, if there's inactivity, that is reflected in the brain of something that's happening or not happening in the body. So we're doing a balance of all those different lobes of the brain, doing the cortices technique. And we're linking that to doing a little bit of a release of the SB junction. Its full name is the spheno-basilar junction. And that is what houses the pituitary gland. It's the area that the sphenoid bone connects into the cranial bones. And it's very, very important that that SB junction have movement with the breath. You can Google the impact of the SB junction and the importance of that too. That'd be kind of fun homework. At least it would be for me if I were one of you. But it is very, very important. It has a very important role, that SB junction, that be moving properly for basically entire body function. It can cause cognitive impairment. It can cause depression, headaches, all kinds of different things if it's locked up. And it can be locked up due to different things, simply hitting your head on the edge of a cabinet. It could be from being startled, emotional overwhelm. It can also be caused by something like a concussion. So we're linking that to the sphenoid bone itself, that is located here on either end of the temple, or temples. It's on both sides. It connects from left to right. And that's linking to the occiput and the sacrum balance, and defined by stability and our ability to be able to stand back up again when we get knocked down. So I might be dating myself a little bit here, but if some of you are aware of what a weeble wobble is, there are these little figurines that you could push them down and they'd always come back up. So our ability to be able to stand back up after getting knocked down. And we're linking that to a belief system of it's tough but necessary. And then we are linking that to our gratitude practices, whether it is that you sit at the dinner table every night and you say grace, whether you are a huge believer in practicing gratitude on a regular basis, or whatever your practice is or isn't. So we're linking to that, and we're tapping out here. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Tapping over the top of the head, a reminder to take nice, slow, deep breaths while you're doing the tapping. And also to be tapping over both sides of, or both hemispheres of the brain. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Tapping over the heart area. I had a lot of yawning when I was coming up with these links and revealing all the priorities for today's session. A lot of shifting going on, a lot of things that need to upgrade and change. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to do a quick reassessment of your body and your emotions. How are those areas where you were feeling tension before? Are you noticing any improvements? Are you more tense than you were before? How is that on a scale of 1 to 10 now compared to how it was before? How about any pain or discomfort that you are experiencing? Are you feeling less pain, less discomfort? Are you feeling more pain, more discomfort? Has stuff popped up in areas that you weren't feeling before? How is that overall on a scale of 1 to 10? How's your current emotional level? How's your stress levels? Still feeling anxious? Are you feeling a little more calm, a little more peaceful? So give that a number 2. Take that same arm that you raised before the session started, nice and slow, and just see where you feel a little tension in your muscles engaging. Can you raise your arm a little easier? Can you push it a little bit further? Not push it as in, pushing through. Of course, we can all do that if we really wanted to. But can you move it a little bit further before you feel those muscles engage? How's that compared to when you started? Okay, so something that's different from the first session that we did on last week's is a little bit of homework. So those of you who may have worked with me in person or one-on-one, whether it's on the computer or in person, sometimes homework comes up. And in this case, it is coming up for us to do if you are so inclined. This is not mandatory, so I should call it home play. So if you want to do it, then you are welcome to do it. If you don't, that's okay too, whatever you are drawn to do. So the homework or home play assignment is to, for the next week, each day, come up with 3 different things you are grateful for, appreciative for. So expressing 3 different gratitudes each day, 3 different ones. And during the day, you're going to maybe jot that down, or maybe you've got a really great memory and you're going to remember what those are. And you're going to read them or express them out loud several times a day. And what this is going to do is it's really going to help raise your emotional vibration, your frequency. It's going to get you to a happier, healthier level overall. So that concludes session number 2 of the Corona sessions, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day and a wonderful week, and I hope to have you watch and look for the next session next week. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.